Tonight we begin with a development that Russian authorities did not announce, did not preview, and did not publicly acknowledge until after it was already underway. A sudden internal security operation unfolding at speed inside the heart of Moscow's power structure. Officials say it began quietly, escalated rapidly, and forced emergency coordination across multiple agencies within hours. Roads were sealed, units were repositioned, communications were restricted, and for a brief but consequential window, the Kremlin itself became the focal point of an unexpected crackdown. Analysts say the speed mattered, the location mattered, and the timing sent a message far beyond Russia's borders. This was not a symbolic move. It carried consequences, triggered internal alarms, and immediately raised questions about escalation and control. Because when an operation unfolds this close to the core of power, it is never isolated. It is connected to pressure, to fear, and to decisions made long before tonight. To understand how this moment arrived, we need to step back to the tension that built in silence. For months, Russian officials projected stability. Public appearances continued, ceremonial meetings were broadcast, the outward message was continuity and control, but behind that display, analysts observed a pattern of pauses. Planned rotations were delayed, routine security briefings stopped appearing on official schedules, certain internal reports, once regular, went quiet. What did not happen became as important as what did. There were no public reshuffles after key battlefield developments, no visible accountability after operational failures, and no acknowledgement of growing strain within security institutions. Sources indicate that silence was not accidental. It was managed. The absence of movement suggested hesitation, internal debate, and competing assessments about risk. Historically, Russian leadership has relied on decisive internal action to preempt threats. This time, that instinct appeared restrained until it wasn't. The tension built not through action, but through delay. And delays, analysts believe, often signal deeper fractures forming beneath the surface. According to officials familiar with the matter, the trigger came through a convergence of intelligence indicators rather than a single event. Analysts detected shifts in internal security postures, unusual travel patterns among senior figures, and communications anomalies inconsistent with routine operations. These were not battlefield signals, they were domestic. The assessment did not point to an external strike, but to internal instability. Sources say the response was calibrated but urgent. Specialized units were placed on standby. Jurisdictional lines were clarified. Authority was centralized temporarily. The operation that followed was described as preventive rather than reactive. Analysts emphasize that such language matters. Preventive actions signal uncertainty about loyalty, reliability, or intent. They also suggest leadership acting before options narrow. The revelation was not of chaos, but of concern. A recognition that the balance inside the system had shifted enough to demand intervention. What made the response unusual, analysts say, was not its scale, but its proximity. Internal security actions typically unfold on the periphery, away from symbolic centers. This time the operation moved inward. That choice carried risk. It required confidence that escalation could be contained. Officials indicate hesitation had been debated and ultimately rejected. Waiting, they concluded, carried greater danger than acting. The warning embedded in the response was directed inward, not outward. It signaled that tolerance for deviation had narrowed, that calculations had been updated, and that assumptions about stability were being reassessed in real time. The forceful nature of the response reflected a belief that ambiguity had become a liability. Step by step, the operation unfolded with precision. First came access control. Checkpoints were established along key routes. Movement was monitored, not halted indiscriminately. Then came targeted deployments. Units with overlapping authority were separated to avoid confusion. Timing was synchronized to prevent gaps. Officials say the intent was containment, not spectacle. No public announcements accompanied the initial phase. The logic was to act before narratives could form. Analysts note that such sequencing reveals priorities. Control first, messaging later. The targets were not public institutions, but nodes of influence. The timing coincided with routine schedules to minimize visibility. Every element pointed to an operation designed to resolve uncertainty quickly and quietly. Why now? That question dominates assessments tonight. Analysts believe the leadership faced a narrowing window. Ongoing external pressures combined with internal strain created conditions where miscalculation became more likely. The operation served multiple purposes. It tested loyalty, it reset expectations, and it demonstrated capacity to act decisively under pressure. But it also revealed anxiety. A system confident in its cohesion does not need to demonstrate control at its center. By acting where few expected, the responder reversed assumptions. The message was not that instability existed, but that it would be confronted directly. The geographic footprint was limited, but the implications were broad. Politically, the move signaled consolidation. Militarily, it required readiness without deployment. Economically, markets reacted cautiously, reflecting uncertainty rather than panic. This was not symbolic theater, it was systemic maintenance. Analysts stress that actions at the core ripple outward. Allies, adversaries, and neutral observers all recalibrate when internal control measures surface. The scope extended beyond Moscow, influencing calculations far from the immediate scene. Historically, moments like this mark transitions. Past assumptions about predictability give way to recalibration. In earlier periods, similar actions preceded structural changes. Analysts caution against direct comparisons but note patterns. Internal crackdowns often emerge when leadership perceives erosion of informal guarantees. The current reality reflects accumulated pressures rather than a single trigger. Long-term consequences begin forming not at the moment of action, but in the reactions that follow. Inside the system, pressure is acute. Competing factions assess risk differently. Some advocate restraint to preserve appearance, others push for clarity through action. Vulnerabilities are not only operational but perceptual. Leadership must project control without exposing fear. The urgency stems from the belief that hesitation invites challenge. Tonight's actions suggest a choice was made to prioritize certainty over comfort. Official statements were measured. Officials described routine security adjustments and dismissed speculation of instability. Translated plainly, analysts say the language signals acknowledgement without elaboration. By neither denying nor confirming specifics, authorities sought to close space for interpretation. The absence of detail itself communicates sensitivity. In public remarks, the leadership tone was controlled and formal. No references were made to internal unrest. The emphasis remained on continuity and responsibility. Analysts note that omission can be intentional. By not addressing the operation directly, leadership avoided legitimizing concern. The implication was confidence, whether genuine or strategic. Sources indicate coordination with allied security structures occurred quietly. Information sharing increased, monitoring intensified. These parallel moves suggest anticipation of secondary effects. When multiple actors adjust simultaneously, it reflects recognition that a single action fits within a broader strategic environment. Analysts outline three scenarios. First, the operation successfully neutralizes internal risk, restoring balance. Second, it deters challenges temporarily, but deepens underlying fractures. Third, it triggers further consolidation that reshapes governance. Today, officials appear to have neutralized the most immediate scenario of uncontrolled escalation. This moment is a test of resolve, of credibility, of deterrence. Internally, it tests loyalty. Externally, it tests perception. How this action is interpreted will shape responses. The test is not concluded by action alone, but by its aftermath. As of now, officials report stability. No further movements have been announced. Observers are watching communications, personnel changes, and policy signals. Intelligence assessments remain cautious.